I thought
It's okay.
I I I do it African style. You
Uh,
African always
yes, African adjusted time. Yes. So, dear devotees, we thank you all for being here today. Monday, the first working day of the week. And we are very much blessed. We have His Grace Sarvatma Prabhu who will be speaking to us from the Nectarian Srimad Bhagavatam. And therefore, we encourage the devotees to be rapt attentive, and surely at the end of the katha, we would have really enjoyed Krishna. We are not supposed to enjoy Krishna, but hearing Krishna katha is blissful. So I think if the devotees may agree with me, we're happy to have that relishment. So, Hare Krishna Sarvatma Prabhu, thank you once again. And without further ado, we may put the verse on the screen and you take it over from here. Hare Krishna.
Okay, very good. So I wait for you to put it on the screen. Well, I can start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Naruttamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nasta Prayesha Vadrisu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloki Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So we have verse number 40 of the 5th chapter of the 3rd canto. It's still a conversation between Maitreya and Vidura. And the verse goes, Tataryad yasmin bhava isha jivastapat trayanapi hatana sharma atman lavante bhagavan stavangri chayam sa vidyam ata ashrayama. And we'll go directly to the translation. O Father, O Lord, O Personality of Godhead, the living entities in the material world can never have any happiness, because they are overwhelmed by the three kinds of miseries. Therefore, they take shelter of the shade of your lotus feet, which are full of knowledge, and we also thus take shelter of them. Srila Prabhupada's purport. The way of devotional service is neither sentimental nor mundane. It is the path of reality by which the living entity can attain the transcendental happiness of being freed from the three kinds of material miseries. Miseries arising from the body and mind, from other living entities, and from natural disturbances. Everyone who is conditioned by material existence, whether he be a man or beast or demigod or bird, must suffer from adhyatmika, bodily or mental pains, adibhautika pains, those offered by living creatures, and adidayvika pains, those due to supernatural disturbances. His happiness is nothing but a hard struggle to get free from the miseries of conditional life. But there is only one way he can be rescued, and that is by accepting the shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The argument that unless one has proper knowledge, one cannot be freed from material miseries is undoubtedly true. But because the lotus feet of the Lord are full of transcendental knowledge, acceptance of his lotus feet completes that necessity. We have already discussed this point in the first canto, 127. Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Jana Yapti Shubhairagyam Gyanam Cha Yadahaitukam. There is no want of knowledge in the devotional service of Vasudeva, the personality of Godhead. He, the Lord, personally takes charge of dissipating the darkness of ignorance from the heart of a devotee. He confirms this in Bhagavad Gita 10:10. Tisham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam niyanamam upayantite. Empiric philosophical speculation cannot give one relief from a threefold miseries of material existence. Simply to endeavor for knowledge without devoting oneself to the Lord is a waste of valuable time. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Gyananjana Sharakaya Chakshurmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayati Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Bande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanyam Ishwaram Vanchakalpataruyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyaivacha Patitanam Pavanavyo Vaishnavavyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. This is not one of those statements that are difficult to understand or are a little bit esoteric. How do we navigate the material world? These are inconveniences that everybody has to experience. When I mean everybody, I mean every species, even the lowest, those without practically a brain, to the highest, they have to experience certain miseries. And they are of three types. They're defined in three categories. Categories at Adhyatmika, which is produced by one's own body and mind. Adibhautika is caused by other people's bodies and minds and actions. And Adidaivika, those produced by demigods due to enforcing the laws of nature, the law of karma. So they occur as natural disturbances. So maybe we can talk about all three kinds of miseries. One may say, well, it is pretty obvious about one's own mind and body giving miseries, especially if one is not a crazy teenager that thinks that everything is fine. As soon as a person grows to a certain age, all disturbances will come one after another, all together. Just depends on one's karma or one's history. Just like I remember in my teen days playing soccer for many hours during the week, and volleyball and table tennis and rugby, and basically my body was made out of rubber because I don't know how I managed to do that, and I will get injured, but I was immediately fine, and and just keep going for hours and hours. And nowadays I can't turn and from a driver's seat in the car to retrieve a sweater from a back seat without getting an injury. So this has changed quite a bit. Walking, not running, walking has become laborious. And the mind, I mean, the body, I can go on to produce many examples. Actually, I don't want to jinx myself on this, but I was giving a class in Ukraine years ago, and I fell upon a similar verse describing the threefold miseries, and I was describing that the body gives pleasure and pain. However, pain is more numerous, variegated than pleasure. There's very few pleasures to be obtained from this body, but there are plenty of pains, all sorts of things, even just the head. And this was the example that I gave, that from a neck up, You can get a headache, you can get a toothache, you can get an earache, you can get clogged sinus, which is extremely painful, especially if you go on an airplane. And you can get one day, I remember suffering from an unbearable eye pain. Like I had something like a nail inside my eyeball. And then I went to the optometrist and he found one of my own eyebrow hairs lodged inside like a lance inside my eyeball. And that was giving me incredible pain. So all these things, just in the head, jaw pain, an earache is unbearable, a toothache might drive you crazy, all these things, a headache, a migraine, imagine. So I brought this example because almost immediately after giving the class, I started feeling pain in my eye, pain on my side of my face, and it was horrible. And my face was getting deformed, and I was getting a toothache and a headache and an earache all at the same time. So I had shingles. I mean, it was poorly diagnosed. I went to the hospital in Ukraine where there was a doctor. He was an oncology surgeon, so he had nothing to do with this area of my body. But he took me to a specialist, and the specialist was formerly a pig farmer. And his desire was to, again, become a pig farmer. So he was doing a stint as a doctor because, I don't know, his parents forced him to go to school or something like that. But he just wanted to be a pig farmer. This is a poor Varnashram situation there. And he thought this must be a sinus infection. So he got a needle the size of a finger, practically speaking, curved finger, and he opened my mouth and put it through my palate into my sinuses and just pressed my head against his chest just to break the cartilage, and then shot warm water with salt through my nostril and, to empty my, it was incredibly painful, particularly because I didn't have a sinus infection. I had shingles, which makes everything very painful. Matter of fact, when you have shingles, even a breeze, you get certain bumps on whatever part of the body is that happens. And even a breeze causes unlimited pain, practically speaking. It's just even a breeze, even if someone blows on you. What to speak of a pig farmer injecting a finger-sized needle inside one's palate into the sinus cavity. So that's why I say I don't want to jinx it. I don't want that to happen again. I was just giving an example of how the body, one's own body, can produce incredible amounts of pain. There's a mind. I probably don't have to tell you, but since it's class time and you're here, I'll tell you anyway, that the mind produces incredible pain because it tortures us, because it's spoiled. It's like a little child that hasn't been properly trained or educated, that can cause the parents incredible suffering. So this is how our mind is. It's a spoiled brat that is always giving us bad ideas. And we have to live with this inside our heads. So this is the mind. This is adhyatmika. I haven't even touched the other miseries yet, just caused from one's own body and mind. And then the mind causes also depression and bewilderment, confusion, mood alterations. I mean, so many things that come out of their own mind with no prompting. It just happens because of our lifestyle, because of our history, because of our own desires, unfulfilled. Because sometimes we fulfill certain desires and they give the opposite result. This is the characteristic of the mode of passion, that one sees something and wants it, and that thinking, imagining that the result is going to be one, and the result is exactly the opposite. This is a characteristic of mode of passion. Whatever we are searching for will give us the opposite result. That's why patience, tolerance, these are characteristics of the mode of goodness. Because in the mode of passion, there is no patience, there is no tolerance. There is, let me get that now. I want it. So that's us. Then others, and this is not just in the human experience. There's the animals are also experiencing all kind of horrible things. And in the adibautika, misery is caused by others' bodies, minds, and actions. Well, we don't have to. If you're married, you probably understand this right away. If you have friends and enemies, if you work, you don't need any help. You know that other people can cause a lot of trouble. Matter of fact, become someone who is even not aware of causing misery to you can become an obsession. You can't stop thinking about that person. And you think that person is evil, is doing this and that, but that person is not even aware of their own actions. So adibautika means misery is caused by others, but these others may not be willing or even conscious of causing miseries, but they still do. That's why we can't get along, because of adibautika. And what to speak of other living entities that are not human. I mean, humans can cause a lot of pain, like a broken heart. How do you get over that one? It's simply that someone is not even conscious, perhaps, is unable, because of their own psychophysical, social formation, unable to reciprocate to the extent that you wish to be reciprocated. So, because love is meant for Krishna, real love is only Krishna can provide it. Because we do not have a small little necessity. We have a very large necessity for love, both to give and to receive. And only Krishna has that capacity to both give and receive the amount of love that we want and need. So we blame others, but it's our own foolishness into thinking that someone else can make you happy besides Krishna. So the miseries come in so many ways. Bugs, yes, we know how small bugs that you can see and bugs that you cannot see, microbes and bacteria and viruses. A virus, which you need a microscope, a very good microscope to see, can toss you around like a rag doll, can make you miserable for days or maybe years, can cause your death. So that is adibautika. It's not like you need to see a tiger or a lion or a rhinoceros coming at you. It's someone that you cannot see with the naked eye, can cause you unlimited pain. Flesh-eating bacteria. Someone who's, some bacteria who's, bacteria is having a normal, happy life, trying to get some food, which happens to be your body, and it causes you to get amputation and misery. This is not a very good place. We are in the wrong neighborhood. We are south of the Vaitarani River, which is a very bad neighborhood. The good neighborhood is above the Viraja or the Vaitarani River is north, and we turn south somehow or other, and we are suffering in this very bad neighborhood. Really, yeah. This is the hood. The material world is the hood. Is dangerous. There is also other living entities which are sinful, insane. They cause havoc. They go on. They shoot people. They rob people. They vandalize. They just cause misery to others. So again, this is all adibautika. Whether it's a bug, as a human being, or anything in between, this is the miseries that we have to experience in the material world. And then finally, last but not least, there is the demigods who are in charge of different universal affairs, such as rain and sunshine and all that stuff. Just a small interaction. Like, for example, maybe scientists, so-called scientists, because any person who says that the universe was created by chance is not a scientist, is an imbecile. There's evidence to the contrary. Even if the sun was a couple of degrees, a couple inches, or a couple of miles further away, we'll all freeze to death. And if it was any closer, we will all burn to ashes. So how come that a body the size of the sun is perfectly located in a place where we can experience the sunshine and not burn or not freeze to death? Because there is an intelligence behind. So when things happen, when the inhabitants of a material world are disobedient and sinful, then miseries occur. For example, since we're in the mood to list miseries today, there's a lady, a young lady, who's kind of like an adopted daughter. She was a volunteer with us when we had a vegan cafe at University of Southern California for 10 years. And she became a devotee, and she's marrying a devotee. And she decided to do the wedding next May in her grandmother's house. Her grandfather died a year ago, and they had a mansion in California. So they were going to do the wedding there. And also after that, they will move in with a grandmother who's alone in a very large house to take care of her, because she's quite elderly and she has memory problems and so on. So, very nice plan to save money by doing the wedding at the house, and also to help the grandmother. Well, she happens to live in Pacific Palisades, and the house burned down to the ground completely. So that's Adidavika, because of the karma of the region. People's houses burned to the ground. You're never safe. There are fires. Like, we lived in Santa Barbara for 25 years. Santa Barbara is one of probably the nicest, most beautiful place in America. Ideal weather. It's always between 70 and 74 degrees. Even in the winter, during the day, it's 70 degrees. Never freezes. No frost. It rains very little. You can grow any kind of crop. They have very nice vegetables and exotic fruits that can grow in a Mediterranean climate. The ocean is on one side, mountains on the other side. The land is fertile. People are nice, and they have fires. Just small detail that burns hundreds and thousands of acres, because it's so dry. And then because the fires, they burn the trees and they burn the soil, then the soil becomes slippery. So when the rains come, rains torrentially, and the roots cannot support the weight, and all the boulders, the soil becomes very slippery, and all the boulders, very large boulders, come running down. And remember one year in the Montecito, which is the most exclusive area of Santa Barbara, where all the writers, directors, actors, politicians live in mansions that are worth millions of dollars. They got buried, they got flooded, and boulders the size of large cars came running down the hills, just tumbling down the hills and destroying houses and people in their houses. So there was like about 25 people died in their own house, buried by these gigantic boulders, and all gardens, all houses, cars, everything got destroyed. The highway got flooded and blocked by trees and roots and boulders and cars and pieces of houses. For several days, we couldn't reach home. And then I remember also driving home when there were fires on both sides of the freeway. It was very hard to see anything. I'm talking about right to the edge of the freeway. There was fire on both sides, up the mountain and down the valley. And so this is even in very exclusive, beautiful places, there is misery. There is earthquakes in California as well. There is famine in certain places. There is war and pestilence. This is all caused by Adidayvika, which is the demigods are regulating what goes on according to their karma. So because of this, I can keep naming different miseries like Fukushima, tidal waves, tsunamis that destroyed Sri Lanka, Indonesia, Thailand. Basically, this is Adidayvika. So these are some of the reasons, which are good enough for me at least, why people cannot find happiness in the material world. And one needs knowledge to get out of happiness, to get out of misery. One needs knowledge. So the advantage is that at the feet of the Supreme are imbued with all transcendental knowledge. So by surrendering to Krishna's lotus feet, one actually gains knowledge as well. Not just shelter, but knowledge as well. So if one is either looking for knowledge without surrendering to the Lord, or one wants to surrender blindly without wanting to know anything, that's an improper attitude. One needs to know. Just like when one chooses a spiritual master, one has to investigate the character of a spirit, such being. Not that you can accept anybody because he has a flowing robes and a beard or whatever, or because it said nice words, or because you can print Hallmark cards out of his every word. That's not sufficient. One has to not be sentimental, needs to actually analyze things with the torchlight of knowledge. This is what the real connection, when the real connection happens between the disciple and the guru, this is what happens. Transcendental knowledge sprouts out of that. Not sentimental, not fanatical. Like I saw some video today. And somebody sent it to me thinking it was a joke, but it wasn't. It was some Swami, proclaiming that, if you put your hands like this instead of like that when you dance, you're doing it wrong. You're stopping the mercy. Just some insane thing. Why? Why do we concentrate in this stupidity? Just inane stupidity. We have to actually concentrate on the real facts. Is that Krishna gives us intelligence to understand him, and we waste it on details that are of no importance to anybody. So there's also the misery, the fourth misery, Adi Admika, Bhautika, Daivika, and then there is the Adi Internet misery, the misery caused by the internet, has caused an epidemic of attention deficit disorder and depression and insanity. That's also another misery that should be listed in the next printing of the Bhagavatam. So enough misery. We need to surrender. Whether with your hands like this or like that, doesn't matter. You need to surrender. And what does surrender mean? That you give up, that we give up our identity, we give up our individuality, we become some zombie, we drink Kool-Aid and become another casualty of a cult virus. No, we have to find saintly, sane people to associate with and listen to the scriptures commented by those who are sane and enlightened. So it's not so easy. That's why we say Krishna consciousness is for everyone. Yeah, it is for everyone, but it is very difficult that someone will stick to it, because as Krishna describes, there are four people that pursue him. And by him, I mean Krishna consciousness as well. I make it equivalent. Those who are suffering or they want wealth, and as soon as the suffering stops or kind of reaches a plateau, or as soon as they get some money or some relief from hunger or cold, they stop. They had enough. That's all they wanted. All those who are curious. But those who are curious, as soon as their curiosity is satisfied, they also stop. That's why we see people living Krishna consciousness, because they were curious about, oh, what is this about? Oh, that's nice. It's like, some new toy. What happens to new toys? We know what happens to new toys. Kids under the Christmas trees, they open their gifts, and the two brothers see that, oh, I got a gift, but his looks better. So they fight, and then within an hour, both brothers forgot about their gifts and their brother's gift. Just they have no more interests. Curiosity is being satisfied, and they move on. They have the attention span of a fly, so they can't concentrate on anything for very long. And it's over. So that's what happens when someone who is curious joins Krishna consciousness. Once their curiosity is satisfied, they leave. They go look somewhere else, see if they're curious about something else. So who are the ones who stay? Those who are inquisitive about the absolute truth, those who are ready to give up anything to obtain the absolute truth. And the absolute truth is Krishna. So once you get Krishna, as Rupa Goswami said, don't go. If you want to enjoy material life, do not go to the bank of the Yamuna where you see Krishna in three-bent form with a peacock feather and a flute. No, do not do that, because he's going to steal your heart. You're never going to be the same. So hopefully to some of us, to all of us, if possible, that will happen. That Krishna has stolen our heart. That it's not possible for us to enjoy material life. Just like when Narada Muni was cursed, I think Daksha is the one who cursed him to say you will never be able to enjoy material life. He was dancing. He thought, wow, that's a great benediction. Because material life is not meant to be enjoyed. You can't enjoy it. It's temporary. We are not made out of material elements. We are spiritual. No amount of wood, glass, pillows, feathers, cotton, organic, silk, nothing like that can help us. Just as the example of Pundarika Vidyanidhi. He was, Gadadhar Pandit was told to go see Pundarika Vidyanidhi, and he was a very advanced devotee. And Pundarika Vidyanidhi was living like a rich man with oil hair and silk bolster pillows and all kind of opulences and gold and so Gadadhar was confused. This man is just an ordinary materialist, just to enjoy. And I don't know who took Gadadhar Pandit to see Pundarika Vidyanidhi, but immediately understood the mind of Gadadhar Pandit and started reciting a verse from the Bhagavatam, and immediately Pundarika Vidyanidhi dropped his facade and went into convulsions due to ecstasy. His hair was in disarray. He was throwing things around. He just couldn't resist because he felt this lolium, this hankering for Krishna. It was revived by a verse from the Bhagavatam. So we have to give up our attachment. This is the proof of a real devotee, that if they have equal attachment to things as they have for Krishna, then we haven't made much advancement. If we can drop everything for Krishna's sake, then we have hope. And Krishna is I was thinking the other day, I even wrote something, because I was waiting for my wife to come back from dressing Radha Damodar. And I was waiting. I usually wait for her to have breakfast together, but she was being late. So I was anxious. I was looking outside. I was checking, this car goes by. This is not her. And I was feeling a variety of things. Like, I was anxious, hoping that we will have breakfast together, but I was distressed because she was being late. And I was feeling, what if something happened, or et cetera, et cetera. I was feeling very uneasy, and then it occurred to me, what if this is what Krishna feels thinking about us? When are we coming back? He's trying, she's trying, but no, that wasn't it. Here is a gesture of devotion, but no, it's not enough. They don't really want me. Krishna is actually, of course, his anxiety, his distress is nothing but another form of ecstasy. So it's not a Krishna suffers. But Prabhupada said that the inhabitants of the spiritual world have only one anxiety, which is about these lost souls that are struggling in the material world. And how many out of those are trying to make it back? So Krishna must feel some type of anxiety, thinking, oh, look, he's trying to come back, or she's trying to come back, or there is a gesture, there is some service that they're offering. And someone was telling me, I can't even remember, but what about all the things that we do that are contrary or antagonistic to the practice of Krishna consciousness? Well, my response was, Krishna doesn't care about that. Krishna only cares about things that we do that are favorable That's all he remembers. He doesn't care about, the embarrassing things that we do that are not conducive to our Krishna consciousness. He cares about the things that we do, and he magnifies them. That's like a real parent, like his real father. Krishna is the real father. Like the boy decides to mow the lawn, the father will give him twice the money I will pay a gardener because of loving attachment, because the boy made an effort. So Krishna is the same way. He rewards us unduly, more than we deserve. He wants to give us more than we deserve just because we made the effort. So this is the conclusion, I would say, to today's verse, in my humble opinion, that no matter what the material world has to offer, Mama Maya Duratyaya. This is the world of Maya. This is not Krishna. Krishna created us, created this world like a sandbox, and where we play and we believe, oh, I'm a sheriff, I'm an Indian, I'm this, I'm that, I'm a hero, this. All this is in a sandbox. It makes absolutely no difference. When mom calls for lunch, all that vanishes. All that goes away. All the life that we created in the material world, all the miseries, all the ecstasy that we experience in the material world amounts to nothing, because this is not our real home, because this is a product of our imagination. We just build some kind of lifestyle and personality and image of ourselves, but we cannot even see each other. We can only see our bodies. We cannot even see who we are. So our real life is awaiting us, and we can actually revive it before we go back to Godhead if we want to. And we just have to be patient. We just have to try to elevate ourselves to the mode of goodness, which is closer to the spiritual platform. It's not the spiritual platform, but it is closer. So it's a shorter drive. If we spend time practicing things that are akin and bring us to the mode of ignorance and the mode of passion, we'll have very little chance of becoming transcendental, because they will create habits, and the habits become embedded in our consciousness, and it's difficult to break out. You may think, oh, well, to break out a heroin habit is difficult. Well, to break out of a mental pattern, or a pattern created by a false ego, is a lot more difficult than giving up heroin. So we need to practice. We need to associate with sane, saintly people. And hopefully, by their guidance, by their kindness, by their friendship, by their love for us, we will actually make spiritual advancement and think of the benefit of others instead of thinking of just ourselves. All this self-care that is just a very egotistic thing, thinking about oneself before one think about anybody else. Think about Krishna, think about devotees, think about others, and Krishna will think of you. Prabhupada said, if you think of Krishna 24 hours a day, he will think of you 26 hours a day. And if you think of yourself, Krishna will think of himself. That's the deal. So we have to, I'm sorry, I'm just preaching to myself, as I always do. This is not meant for you. You're just listening to my thoughts right now. So let's try, let's make an effort. Let's associate with sane, saintly people and practice Krishna consciousness to the best of our ability, and see that others are actually doing their best. We just try to encourage them and help them in any way. And that will help our cause too. Because if you don't give, you don't receive. Okie dokie. I'm done.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, His Grace, Sarvatma Prabhu. So many beautiful things shared with us today. And actually, the last statement you made, of course, helped me remember my Gurudev. He always said, I mean, every single time he preached, he said, he's preaching to himself. And I think that is one thing most of us lack. We think we're speaking to others, but we're actually speaking to ourselves. And maybe others may also benefit from what we're saying to ourselves. So, dear devotees, if anyone may have questions, reflections, comments, realizations you may want to ask or share, please indicate by using the hand emoji or your physical hand, and you'll be asked to unmute to ask your question or share your reflections. Prabhuji, you know, my Gurudev wrote a series of books titled Spiritual Warrior. And long time ago, before I became a devotee, I'm trying to be a devotee, I'm not yet a devotee, but long time before I joined ISKCON, I read one book. I don't remember the title. It was a book on war. And the general was saying that two things that come to mind. One was that a situation that we could have taken care of so easily, now it's so cumbersome and so complex that it's certainly going to take lives. And again, he said, in war, there is no sentimentalism. Now, Srila Prabhupada opened up his purport by saying that in Krishna consciousness, one should not consider Krishna consciousness to be sentimental. Now, I would want you to throw a little bit more light as to why Srila Prabhupada states that in devotional service, there is no sentimentalism. And I tried to look at the definition of sentimental. And I think what came close is the antonym. The antonym to sentimental is practical. So if you may shed a little bit light on what Srila Prabhupada meant by saying that the way of devotional service is neither sentimental nor mundane. Hare Krishna.
What I understand is that anything that is sentimental or just part of a phrase, which is mental, sentimental, mind and senses, is flickering. It's like one day is one way, the next day is different. Like, he loves me not, kind of thing. And why would Krishna not reveal himself to us, showing that we have some degree of sincerity and we want Krishna? I mean, it is obvious. Anyone present here, they want Krishna to whatever degree. But why would Krishna not reveal himself? Because Krishna is a person, just like you wouldn't reveal yourself to someone that you're not sure about their intentions, and you're not sure about their loyalty. So when you're sure about someone's intentions and someone's loyalty, you then start letting some of your intimate thoughts or more secretive part of yourself be visible. You become more vulnerable. So Krishna has no reason to do that unless he's sure that we are not going to be falling back to the mental platform or to the sentimental platform. That, yeah, I want you, Krishna, but I also want Maya, some variety of Maya. So the problem with the sentimental approach to Krishna consciousness, you don't get Krishna because it's too feeble. You're not standing in firm ground. You're actually being flimsy. You're just testing the water. The water is fine. The water is fine, but we need to dive and leave everything behind. You cannot dive with a bunch of things that you want to carry with you because you're going to drown. And we are afraid that if we give up Maya in order to obtain Krishna, then we will miss the things that we had with Maya. But, like some thought may arise, if I go to the spiritual world, am I going to remember the things that I liked about being here? Even those silly doubts will keep you bound to the material world. Oh, I like dark chocolate. Is there, I'm going to have to eat carob in the spiritual world? If that's a choice, I'd rather stay and eat chocolate. So if you want, even if that's your last material desire, chocolate, you will have to take another birth so you can enjoy chocolate. So is it worth it? Even if the chocolate is from Ghana, doesn't matter.
Well, thank you, Prabhuji, for answering my question. But the question I asked is just a prelude to the second question, or I should say the real question that I have. Because you talked about a Swamiji who was talking about if you're in the kirtan and you raise your arms this way, you're preventing Krishna's mercy from flowing through and things like that. So I remember, I think that is 2003, I went to New Vrindavan with my Gurudev, and there were lots of Srila Prabhupada's disciples assembled together. So I don't remember whether it was Srila Prabhupada's disappearance or something like that. I think it was Srila Prabhupada's disappearance. And so the devotees were sharing pastimes of Srila Prabhupada. And one guru, I won't mention the name, he was saying that he is very much appalled when he sees devotees in kirtan not doing the Swamiji steps. How Srila Prabhupada danced, how Srila Prabhupada raised his hands and danced, that anyone who dances any way, anyhow, other than that, is deviating. And of course, my Gurudev was there, and everybody who knows my Gurudev knows how he was very ecstatic in kirtans. So it almost became a debate as to whether devotees should dance exactly as Srila Prabhupada did, and if you do not dance as he did, then you did something wrong. But I also remember that Srila Prabhupada himself used to say that, now I'm an old man. You are describing it, what the body can do as we age. Now I'm an old man. So many things I used to do when I was young, I cannot do them. So Srila Prabhupada, when he came here, he was in advanced age. And so I do not expect him to be jumping and skipping like a teenager. Therefore, my question is it really true that it's because the discussion they were having, there was no conclusion. They did not conclude whether this or that. But I just want to find out from you, if someone is in his heart trying to sing and dance and not pay too much close attention to details, but just glorifying Krishna, and except maybe the dance is like very, very, excuse my language, mundane, erotic. Like maybe you dance in the bar or something like that. But if someone is in his or her heart trying to dance and to please God, but does not raise his hands like that, is that wrong? That is the first part of the question. And the second part of the question is, if someone is speaking based on sentimentalism, should one accept that sentimental statement or comment simply because it's coming from someone whom one considers to be an authority? In other words, do we accept authority for whatever he says, or we accept what the authority is saying because he is speaking the truth? Thank you.
Okay, as far as the first part of your question, I think this is preached by Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda that wherever people go, you're going to find different customs. So there's different types of speech, different types of dances and music and styles and beats and so on. So if someone is in Jamaica doing reggae beats and dancing to the reggae beat with the Hare Krishna mantra, that is fine. We're not Hindus. We don't have to be Indians, that everybody does the same thing. You said it. Prabhupada was 69 when he was traveling. He turned 70. So I am turning 72. I cannot do the type of dance. Of course, there are exceptions like Hari Chakra Prabhu, who's still in his, of course, he's a little younger, but he does this, what I dubbed as the electrocuted chicken dance, which is, I'm sure, is popular in his land, and it looks great, and he can do it. And I'm sure it's totally spiritual when he's done during kirtan time. And other people in other parts of the world, they do their own version. Yeah, not everybody. This is like, for example, I've seen in certain parts of the world where devotees are dancing in unison, like almost like a military thing. Like everybody does the same step and the same gesture with their hands, and then go in the same direction, back and forth. And that scares me, actually. Like everybody's put into a uniform. I like that devotees are spontaneous, and of course, if it is crazy, or it is erotic, or it is just I mean not of a sattvic nature, it probably shouldn't be done. That can be corrected. But as far as the type of music, the type of dance, that's regional. That people can do it in whatever way they can, and they can express it in whatever way. As far as accepting a second part of a question, or second question, is accepting an authority because of sentimental attachment, because the person has the title or the ashram or the authority. What is authority? Authority is something that one commands, not that one demands. So it's not like I got a title and therefore you have to obey me. You have to listen to me. You have to do exactly what I say. If a person is presenting a distortion of a philosophy, even if it is just a sentimental version of Krishna consciousness, one is not compelled to accept it. One has to question intelligently and in a decent way, not in a challenging way. Like one should question in a way that is instructive. Like you see in the Bhagavatam, when someone has a disagreement. Of course, we're not talking about Daksha or people like that, But when someone has a disagreement, they present it in a way that can be enlightening for everybody. And even if one knows the answer, like Vidura Maitreya, Vidura knew the answers to all the questions that he presented, but he was very decent and very noble. So he actually gave Maitreya the opportunity to preach because he was older, because it was the age of Uddhava. So yes, please. So somehow or other, sometimes you know more than the speaker, you know more than the authority, you're more advanced. But if you're really more advanced, then you should be kind too and allow that person to express themselves. And if they make a mistake, you can point it out and in a noble way that is understood. Like, for example, when Socrates, as presented by Plato, Socrates will show people's ignorance by asking questions of the speakers. But what if? But have you considered that? And et cetera, et cetera. And the person, because you can't tell a fool until they open their mouth. So Socrates didn't have to defeat him. They defeated themselves. He just asked the right questions. So I think we should learn that art, that if you are faced with someone who has a position of authority given by karma, given by Maya, given by whatever, by bad decisions, by a series of bad decisions, then you kindly and steadily show their ignorance by putting them in a position that they will show that they are a fool. What do they say? If you put a dog on the throne of a king and you throw a bone, the dog will jump. So that's how you can tell that it's not a king. So throw a bone when someone, when you see someone in a position of authority that doesn't deserve to be there, present a bone in a nice, kind way here, and they will go for it, and that will show. And time changes everything. Kalos mi baratar shava. Just you just see that time destroys everything. So eventually, something that seems immovable and unchangeable will move and will change. So now, if you have the ambition of being that authority yourself, and that's why you're doing it, because you want to place yourself in that position, that's called envy, and that's not helping. So someone who has no ambition, their only ambition is to serve Krishna, then that person can actually show who is who and what is right and what is wrong. So my advice, and again, it's advice to me, is to tolerate, to be humble. And that will make us, because these are tests. Lord Chaitanya said, Trinada pi sunichana tarora pi sahishnuna. He said, be humble and be tolerant. So if you are not presented with a very good opportunity of how to be humble and how to be tolerant, how do you become humble and tolerant? If it's only theoretical, if you never get to experience a situation where you really need to be humble and really need to tolerate, how are you ever going to learn that? So Krishna always puts things on our path that forces us to go the extra mile. So we actually need to be humble and we need to be tolerant in order to tolerate, in order to stand the situation. Because otherwise it's theoretical. You're never faced. It's like a soldier that is, never left the quarters, went through boot camp and you never went to war. It's never tested. So Krishna makes sure that we get our own private wars. So we get plenty of practice. But we may just miss the opportunity because we think, well, next time. This time I'll be proud and I'll be arrogant. But next time I'll be humble and tolerant. No, we should take advantage. Krishna will actually always give us a chance. Did that answer your inquiry, Prabhu?
Yes, very, very much. And that is one thing I really give thanks to Guru and Krishna for allowing us to have this Srimad Bhagavatam Katha, because we're so fortunate. We have amazing devotees from all over the world come to speak to us. And we ask our doubts. We ask what is not clear to us. And somehow, by Guru Krishna's grace, we get our doubts cleared. The only thing is we pray that we are able to act on the wonderful responses we're getting from these devotees. So I very much appreciate your answer. And it actually kind of encourages me to do certain things the way I'm already doing, because I got an affirmation from you. One thing I pray is that I become humble, and when I do approach things, I do them in a way of respect and dignity, and that I'm not doing things because I want to usurp someone else's position, but simply as a matter of.
Can I add
Yes,
a couple?
please.
A
Yes,
couple.
please.
First, I want to thank you for facilitating this forum for devotees to speak to each other. This is extremely important, extremely important. Another thing is about the humility and tolerance that I may have mentioned this before, but it was maybe 10 years ago when I was in Munich, Germany, sharing a meal with devotees, and maybe it was in Munich. Anyway, no, I think it was in Simhachalam in the south, in Bavaria, still in Germany. And Vyasaki, the Kirtaniya, he answered a very interesting way the question that I had about how, okay, yeah, humble like a blade of grass and tolerant like a tree. How is there a practical way to do that? How do you get to that level? And he said, I think the solution is in the second part of the verse, Amanina manadena. If you actually give respect to others without expecting respect, if you don't look for false prestige, then you will become humble and you will become tolerant. So I thought it was a very good addition. All right, sorry to.
No, thank you so much for sharing that, because it helps. It helps. It gives more credence actually to what you shared with us already. And like I said, our prayer is that we're able to live what we hear it, because if we're just hearing and not doing them, it doesn't help much. So thank you so much. Madhavan Prabhu, please, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. All glory to La Prabhupada and the table of devotees. Thank you very much, Prabhu, for giving us this wonderful. It's a lecture, but I don't know a better word I can use for it. Especially your last answer to Prabhu Sade's question I'm also very happy, very pleased, because it's like you are instructing us the best way to conduct ourselves as devotees, especially towards the authorities. Um, this discussion of sentimentalism, which came up, especially when you gave us the example of one, is it a guru, he said people should die like this or that. It's a kind of sentimental instruction. But that also reminds me of a statement that used to come up in those days, that religion without philosophy is sentimentalism. And then philosophy without religion is also mental speculation. So where I'm going now is if a guru or somebody in the higher authority give an instruction, then as a devotee, you can humbly just ask for philosophy that backs such an action. And one has to do it very humbly. And by asking questions is better, and one should avoid confrontation. If I can understand your instruction, one should avoid confrontation. Then by asking this question, whatever instruction, a guru must be able to back it up with philosophy so that one can be convinced. But in the situation whereby no philosophy is backing it, then I think one doesn't have to follow such instructions. Hare Krishna.
I,
So,
Sahariva Prabhu, I missed the last paragraph.
Well, most of what he said are just like comments, because he is saying that he very much appreciates your answer to the question about sentimentalism.
I heard about it.
Yeah, but well, Madhuvan, can you repeat the last part of your comment?
comment. Okay. My last comment is that if any instruction is coming from the higher authority, then we should be able to ask for the philosophy that backs up that philosophy backing it up. Otherwise, you can't just accept it. It becomes sentiment.
Yeah, that's what I thought I understood. That you see, of the Guru Shastra Sadhu reference, which is our books, our checks and balances reference.
Yeah.
Shastra is the most important. Not Guru, not Sadhu. So anything the Guru and Sadhu say should be backed by Shastra. Even if said by Guru and by Sadhu, should be backed up by Shastra. Otherwise, what do you base that on? So if that person is not able to produce some serious Shastric reference, what's the basis for it? Like you just dreamed it or just thought about it? That's not enough. That's why we have Shastra. This is crucial, that we sometimes accept things that are simply someone's speculation. It may be close to the truth, but it may not be. So no need. We are not blind followers. Prabhupada didn't want yes men. He wanted thinking, independent, kind people that can think for themselves. So if this is a warning sign. If someone is saying something, but it's not backed by Shastra, what is like many people nowadays, like the example of the hands and so on. Where is the Shastra for that? Who cares? Who cares where your hands are? And that he also gave another example of a devotee who had his hands behind his back, and Prabhupada said, tell him not to do that. What if the devotee was scratching his back? I mean, what is the relevance of that? There's so many things that are just details that, they're good for about 2 seconds. And then they're who cares? We have to just stop pretending that basic things, basic principles and details are the same. Let's stop pretending that and concentrate on the basic principles. Prabhupada, when he said chant Hare Krishna, he didn't come back and said chant Coca-Cola. He never did that. Matter of fact, did the opposite. He said you can't chant Coca-Cola and make spiritual advancement. Is that Shastric? No, but it makes sense because he said chant Hare Krishna. That's based by scripture. So you don't need a reference for that. And the other stuff that there is no Shastric reference, it's all details. How people dance. Where is the Shastric reference for how people dance? Where is it? The Swami step is the only step for the next 10,000 years. Where is even the reference for the 10,000 years of the Golden Age? There is not even Shastric reference for that. So imagine the rest of the stuff. So let's stop concentrating on the details. It's just a distraction on the path. Whereas I'm sure the scriptures are full of instructions, the Hari Bhakti Vilas, the Manu Samhita, there are so many rules and regulations. Prabhupada was asked, what about the rules? Prabhupada said, Krishna consciousness is not about rules and regulations. If I tell you all the rules, you will faint. You couldn't leave your house. All this stuff about, and I was reading, actually, I was listening to a short of Prabhupada speaking during a lecture, I think, maybe I can't remember what the year it was, that he was saying that all this ritualistic stuff and all the puja, all the ceremonies, they can help you, but that's not the goal. They can help you, but chanting Hare Krishna is sufficient. So this is we're not called the ritualistic devotees. We are called the Hare Krishna devotees. Why? Because we chant Hare Krishna. We ask others to chant Hare Krishna. This is the dharma for the age, nothing else. The way you dance is not the dharma for the age. The things that are presented that are not Shastric, say, thanks, but no thanks. If someone gives you an equivocal direction, then, say, okay, where is the basis for that? Where is the scripture for that? I think Govinda Prabhu has some, I don't know if Madhuvan Prabhu, I did.
Thank you.
Yes. I answered something. I answered something. Well. I answered something you didn't ask for. So, but I'm sorry about it.
No, I think it's very good. Yeah.
I'm satisfied.
Yeah, thank you. So, Govinda Prabhu, well, we know this is Govinda, but he has his name here, Kwajo, who nobody here knows. So you may unmute. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you very much, Prabhu. I really call to express my appreciation to your straightforwardness. I really love to hear from you always, and I love to hear your kirtans also. You are straightforward in everything. Your kirtan is just straightforward, and your lecture is straightforward, and you break your lecture down in such a way that anybody can understand the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, which is marvelous. It's amazing. So I really thank you very much, and we all thank you very much for giving us your association on this platform. You said something that struck me, and it really gave me a lot of encouragement. Um, you know, we've been here in the material world, we've been stuck here for many, many lifetimes. And so we've harbored all kinds of impurities, all kind of demoniac qualities. And so as we try um, to become devotees, to become Krishna conscious, we have so many shortcomings. And sometimes, one may think, this Krishna consciousness is too much. Looking at myself, I cannot do this, I cannot do this, I cannot do that. This is not for me. Let me just give it up and go away. And you said something that Krishna does not look at our shortcomings. Krishna look at our little devotion, the little love that we have for him. That is what Krishna is looking. And I would like you to throw more light on that. Let's give us more encouragement to, whatever one situation or circumstances may be, he may continue his Krishna consciousness. Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate your mood of Kirtan. You are just straightforward, and your lectures, you are straightforward. Thank you very, very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Much appreciated. Your encouragement is also appreciated by me, even though I don't. Well, you can call it straightforward. It's just I'm one track minded. I'm not very sophisticated. I just think, black and white, and not in the racial sense. I'm thinking either this is this way or that way. It can't be both ways. There is much gray in between, but I can't see it. I'm colorblind in that sense. I can I just have a sense of justice that impels me to see things in a certain way, in a certain way. As far as how Krishna's family, I mean, even we are lucky that there is Srimati Radharani, because Krishna's a little stricter than Srimati Radharani. So even though Krishna sees only the good, he's not so inclined to reveal himself unless we show our loyalty and complete avoidance of material desires. But Radharani is even more merciful, and she actually shows Krishna, no, look, this person is really making an effort. So that's why in Vraj, people pray to Radharani, and they always say Radhe Radhe, because Radharani is the one who brings people to Krishna. She is even more merciful than Krishna. And Lord Chaitanya, and to our delight, he is Krishna in the mood of Radharani, who is actually bringing all the souls back to Godhead somehow or other. He takes whatever, he actually accepts anyone. And by the mercy of Lord Nityananda, even Jagai and Madai, what to speak of us? Jagai and Madai had no devotional sentiments. Of course, you may say this was a pastime where Jagai and Madai were Jai and Vijay and all that, so they are devotees. But we are also devotees in disguise, in one sense, that we were with Krishna in one way or another, and now we have lost our way. And now Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, Radharani herself is bringing us back. So, yeah, if you actually are, guilt is a good thing in a certain way. That sometimes we feel guilty about things that we do. But if guilt is actually dragging us down from performing our duty, then guilt is actually not favorable. Guilt is actually something that we should have as a deterrent. You shouldn't do this. But guilt shouldn't be a ballast, a weight that is dragging us down. It should get, okay, Okay, well, okay, I did this wrong. How do I make it up? That should be our attitude. Like, get over it. Because Krishna, we may fixate on the guilt and forget about the goal. So Krishna is not like that. He doesn't fixate on the things that we do wrong. He actually looks at the stuff. Oh, he did this. Okay, let's see if we can get him to do it again or do something else like that. He likes that. Okay, let's make a situation favorable for that person to actually develop this particular quality. You know, we read about the 26 qualities of the devotees and we get overwhelmed. Oh my God, I'm never going to be like that. How in the world am I going to develop all these qualities? There's no chance. But we may be able to come close to one of them. 1 out of 26. Yeah, it's not majority, but it's something. So Krishna may present a situation that is favorable for that particular quality to develop. And that particular quality will attract other people that have different other qualities. And then you may imbibe them by osmosis, by approximation, by association, by serving. So if, let's say, we are not forgiving, right? That's a tough one to forgive. I hold grudges. I do. I have a hard time giving up animosity towards people that wrong me. So for me, forgiveness is a big one. I have no idea how to approach it. But when I see it in others, other people that are they're being wronged and they're actually forgiving, that encourages me. Okay, maybe I can learn these qualities from this person. How did you do it? Like I've seen this happening in my life, you know, where I see someone, not even a devotee, who has a particular quality that we may say, well, that's not a good quality because it's a non-devotee, but it's a quality. It's there. Krishna gave it to that person. Maybe they cultivated it for many lifetimes, and now they have it. Maybe they haven't achieved the mercy of becoming a devotee of Krishna. And as Sahadev Prabhu was saying, you know, trying to be a devotee. Like Hridayananda Maharaj wrote a letter to Srila Prabhupada saying, you know, now that I am the devotee, this and this and that. And Prabhupada wrote back and said, what do you mean? Lord Chaitanya never called himself a devotee. How can you call yourself a devotee? So yes, it's a difficult position. A devotee means a bhakta. Bhakta means a pure devotee. So the qualities of the devotees means the qualities of the pure devotees. So we have a long way to go, but at least you can get to one of them. So let's say back to forgiveness. I have to actually find people who are forgiving and learn from them. Because on my own, I can't. I have no capacity to give up animosity, and it's not helping me. So I need to see that not developing a particular quality is not helping me. To be grudgeful, to be resentful is actually polluting. It's toxic. It drags you down. It will make you commit mistakes and actually lose other qualities that you may have. So we have to always seek the association of advanced devotees. That is crucial, crucial. Associate with one another and see, okay, this devotee is much younger than me and, you know, hasn't developed many qualities, but he has one particular quality that I do not have. How can I get that? So there is always an opportunity to associate with someone because they're better than us at a certain thing. So even those who don't seem to be very advanced, they have something that we don't have. They must. And we may not be able to see it. We may be proud, and then pride makes you blind, makes you see yourselves as better than everybody else. So even if you're not, you may fail to see it properly. So let's take help wherever we can get it from anybody. Doesn't have to be, the guru, the sadhu. It can be anybody. I think I told this before. It's worth repeating. I went to visit this guy who was joined some impersonalist thing, very rich person, and opened his house. It was kind of a moral goodness, and created a room full of cots to him. Anybody who came for a kirtan, or they had South Indian Brahmins cooking prasadam, offering to some deities, and the house was open for anybody. They could stay there for as long as they wanted. So I went directly to the guy. I never met him before. I said, I don't know how you do it. I've been doing programs all my life, most of my life, opening my house to people and, cooking and doing kirtan and et cetera, but I don't prepare extra beds for anybody to stay. I couldn't take that. So how do you do it? And he said, I do not like the person I am when I'm not like that. I do not like the person I become when I don't have that generous spirit. So I cannot forget that. That's an admirable quality, that you become generous to a fault, that you become open, even to get brokenhearted. You become vulnerable to the point that you don't mind if people break your heart, they betray you. I cannot be like that, but I can admire that, and I can aspire to, maybe by thinking about it, maybe by associating with people like that, maybe I can develop some quality. So from anybody, even non-devotees. Because the verse that talks about that non-devotees have no good qualities and devotees have all good qualities, that refers only, if you look at the Sanskrit, only to pure devotees. It doesn't refer to, Bhakta Bob or SARVATMA Prabhu or anybody like that. It refers to pure devotees. Yes. So, yes, in that sense, it is true. Only devotees have good qualities because they're pure devotees, because those qualities are solid and they're meant for Krishna's satisfaction. So they can do no wrong. They're all different.
Wow. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for this nectar you shared with us today.
It's not nectar, but it's food for thought. Yeah.
Yeah, the food is nectarian too.
But it's important that you have good fire of digestion, that you can actually.
That is our prayer, to have good fire of digestion, to digest it so we'll get the nutrients assimilated and then the body will be nourished. Now I was reading something, and if devotees, particularly SARVATMA Prabhu, if you may allow me to share this, because you said something which affirms what Srila Prabhupada has said. And I indicated earlier that I'm very happy with the answer, because it kind of helps me accept a particular mood that I've been trying to develop. And that is, it's very interesting because I just read this about, today is Monday. I read this, I think, on Tuesday. And the BBT, they did the correction. And so you see here, this is a letter to Sumati Morarji by Srila Prabhupada. Here you see it's dated August 7th, 1976. This was just corrected because this used to be the date they gave, August 9th, 76. But the actual date is August 7th, 1976.
Okay.
The letter is a bit lengthy. We cannot read it all, but I would humbly request the devotees to bookmark this particular letter and try to read it later on. But this Madam Sumati Morarji was very helpful to Srila Prabhupada in his preaching. And she came across an article in Back to Godhead magazine that really wasn't pleasing to this Mataji. So she wrote to Srila Prabhupada and asking Srila Prabhupada, because the writers of the article had criticized one guru, Sri Vallabhacharya, and she
Right.
didn't take it lightly. And so she wrote to Srila Prabhupada expressing her dissatisfaction. And Srila Prabhupada, bottom line here is that Srila Prabhupada tried to explain the situation to her, and finally Srila Prabhupada said, okay, here, here, devotees always humbly offer respect to everyone. But when there is a discussion on a point of Shastra, they do not observe the usual etiquette. Satyam bruyat prayam bruyat. They speak only the Satyam, although it may not necessarily be prayam.
Mm-hmm.
So this goes to what we were discussing, that Sadhu Guru Shastra, but the Sadhu Guru is dependent on the Shastra. So when it comes to Shastra, discussion a particular topic, it is not the person speaking if it is not supported by Shastra. So I just wanted to bring this up, but if one reads the entire letter Srila Prabhupada wrote to Sumati Morarji, one will understand it, and hopefully we may all try to use this as an eye-opener to discussing Krishna Katha.
I believe it was Chanakya Pandit who said that maybe not Chanakya Pandit, maybe he was quoting from some scripture saying that the truth should be spoken in a palatable way, but if not possible, it should be spoken anyway. I don't think that's applicable to every situation, and usually the truth should be spoken in a palatable way. There was an incident when Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur sent a brahmachari and a sannyasi to speak at a certain event. And the sannyasi was very polite. He spoke, he gave his lecture, but he didn't create any controversy. Whereas the brahmachari spoke about Paramahamsa Yogananda and about Dr. Radhakrishnan. And he said about Dr. Radhakrishnan, he's just a pujari. And about Paramahamsa Yogananda, he said he's Patihamsa, a duck, not a swan. So people were very upset. And the sannyasi was very upset because, the brahmachari kind of ruined his presentation by speaking boldly. And Bhaktisiddhanta, when he heard it, and the sannyasi thought he was going to get the sympathy of Bhaktisiddhanta saying, yes, you shouldn't. He said, I don't see what he has done wrong. He spoke the truth. And especially when it comes to, Prabhupada said also, I'm an old man, I can say anything, get away. Told his disciples, they cannot speak like that. They cannot call people names and say that. But sometimes the truth needs to be told, and especially if there's a need. Okay, I'm gonna end with this because I've taken plenty of your time and I don't want to take much more. Once upon a time, it was 1981, maybe 1982. I was in Chile, and I was with we were invited to some kind of health society, philosophical, all the groups were there. The Vedantists, the Buddhists, the New Age, the yoga people, I mean, everybody went. There were about 300 people, and they were giving a slot of 10 minutes to everybody to speak. And the theme was harmony. So I was with the temple president. The temple president was a kind of an unusual guy. He came from an aristocratic family of a baron from Austro-Hungary, and he was very smart, educated, and people will speak on harmony, and it's all one, it's all the best, it's all the same, stuff like that. And I was sitting next to him. We were friends, so he would take notes. And I said, "What are you writing? They're just spewing nonsense. It's not true. They're trying to make the material world look good. They're trying to think that we are all thinking the same thing, or we all have the same philosophy. We all should agree on, God is one, harmony is one, everything is one. What? Yeah." He said, "Well, but I cannot say something that will upset everybody. They're going to hate us." I said, "Well, it's our duty to tell things as they are." He said, "No, but you don't understand. We need to create a policy by which, we kind of fit with the rest and so on." And we had also a 10-minute slot for kirtan. So a lot of people, it was a long time. It was like probably after 2 hours, and everybody, after 10 minutes, they will shine some red light and people will just get off the stage, and then the next group, and they say the same thing. Everybody I felt like vomiting at that point. So there was a point where, finally the temple president, he was keeping notes about everybody's speech. I just couldn't take it. And then it was finally our turn. So he went up and he started with the same thing. He started saying the same thing, yes, we like harmony. Harmony is good. Everybody's, we're all souls. So I just went to the back of a room. I borrowed a poster, and the back of the poster, I got a marker and I drew an axe, an enormous axe. And I held it up, in the back of a room so he could see it, that there was an axe, and he stopped speaking. This is the word. He actually I caused, enough attention that he stopped speaking. And then he shrugged his shoulders and said, "Actually, we are not one. We are, there is a divine and demonic nature, and people, we are all spiritual souls. There is a God. There is our duty is to serve." And he just went for it, and after 10 minutes, he was still fired up. And then they shined the light on him, and he went on for another 10 minutes. And then I asked the brahmacharis that were there, "Let's go, let's have kirtan." So we went in the front and had a kirtan for another 20 or 30 minutes. And then we sat down. It was crazy, because when he started speaking like that, some people went, "Oh my God, it's horrible." And some people say, "Yeah." So it was like room was polarized, was divided. So we sat down after this ruckus that went on for nearly an hour. And there were other people that they were starting to speak. And the temple president was telling me, "We will never be invited again. We will never be invited to anybody's program again." I said, "Well, it was worth it. It was worth it. At least you spoke the truth." So the people that came after us, they actually started speaking the same thing that we did. They said, as the brothers from the Hare Krishna movement said, "Yes, we are spiritual souls. We should serve God. There is no harmony without peace, and there is no peace without devotion." And it was like, really, it it just broke something. And then after we left, we actually listened to just 2-3 more speakers, and then we left. And we started getting phone calls, people inviting us. Please come to this meeting. Please come to this. Please come to that. So we actually, sometimes we have to just break the wall. You can't just stand and listen to people spew nonsense and just in the name of peace. There is, Prabhupada said, I mean, the Shastra said, there is no, the Gita said, there is no happiness without peace, and there is no peace without Krishna consciousness. No peace. Anyway, let's make that the last thing. Thank you so much, brothers, for your time. Sorry if I spoke a little too strongly for some of you. I haven't learned any other way. You have to wait until I take another birth for me to be soft and gentle and kind. So take what you can while you can.
Well, Hare Krishna, thank you so much. You have just one breath left, and that breath is back to Godhead, not in this material world, by Shri Guru Hare Krishna's grace. And we can't thank you enough for starting the week so wonderfully with us. That is a sign that this week is going to be awesome. Dear devotees, we're going to humbly request you all to kindly unmute. And as we said and shared with you last week, 2 days ago, that was Saturday, that was when our brother, His Grace Eka Krishna Prabhu, was laid to rest. His mortal body was cremated yesterday, and the flowers collected today, Monday. So again and again, we pray and humbly request you all to continue to pray for him, for his smooth journey back home, back to Godhead. And we thank you all. Lots of the people who were there may not be here today, but we thank each and every one who supported in honoring him in terms of doing the cremation and doing the ceremonies. We thank you all, and may Shri Guru and Krishna bless you all. With that being said, we're going to humbly request you all to kindly unmute, and we all chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra to express our appreciation to our revered speaker, His Grace SARVATMA Prabhu, for sharing his love and wisdom with us today. Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vancha kalpa taribhyascha, kripa sindhubhya evacha, Titana Bhavanabhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha. Ananta Kurti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to His Grace SARVATMA Prabhu Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. All praise the Sama Vaishnava devotees Jai. Hare
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so